Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, everyone. I would like to firstly please welcome you once again and to ask you to kindly rise for the Lebanese national anthem, followed by the anthem of the European Union. Good evening once again, distinguished guests. It's an absolute pleasure to see you all gathered here tonight to celebrate the closing of the EU-funded program Lebanon Innovate. If we take a closer look at tonight's program, you will notice that we divided it into 3 chapters. Why? Because we are going over the story of Lebanon Innovate, all the way from vision and concept to transformation and finally reaching the legacy. But first, I would like to ask you all to visualize something with me. So imagine a meeting room, closed door, AC on. You have a square table with about 8 people seated right around that square table, all different departments speaking at the same time. And then in the background, you see a whiteboard. You see different people creating and writing a mind map, writing and then erasing, and then writing again, and then erasing. And you see different words such as universities, you see industry, you see diaspora, you see government, so many different things. They're all trying to come up with one coherent narrative about Lebanon Innovate. But at that moment, we all realized something very important. We realized that Lebanon Innovate was never meant to just be any other program. It was the beginning of a national innovation ecosystem that connects, that collaborates, and that continues far beyond the lifespan of a program. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the beginning of chapter 1 for tonight. The why behind Lebanon Innovate, the vision, the concept, and also to understand the different challenges that it was set out to address, and looking at the different partners that were joined together to embark on this common mission. So let's watch this video together, and hopefully you can understand that to start with.
Throughout my experience at Berytech in supporting entrepreneurs across many sectors, I had the privilege to work specifically with researchers back in 2019. What I discovered was remarkable. They have amazing innovation potential, they are so committed and driven, yet they lack entrepreneurial thinking, business acumen support, the right connections to turn their research into impact. So we decided to map the ecosystem, and we found a lot of gaps, among which a big disconnect between industries, academia, lack of IP-enabling policies for the commercialization of research, limited programs tailored just specifically for researchers. So the potential was there. What was missing is the bridge.
The EU launched a call about strengthening the local ecosystem, linking research to industry in Lebanon. And we at Berytech found this as a golden opportunity to design the best program that would fill the gaps that you had previously identified during our previous projects. It was an exciting challenge to design a sophisticated program that would combine several activities and components and finding the best local and European partners that were sharing the same vision as Berytech. It was not only important to build the ecosystem for research in Lebanon, but also establish the cross-border linkages with Europe. And this is how Lebanon Innovate was born.
At IRALab, we are proud of the role Lebanon Innovate played in elevating LIRA, a program that has been nurturing innovation and entrepreneurship across all Lebanese universities for nearly 3 decades. One of the most important lessons from Lebanon Innovate is that innovation cannot happen in isolation. The strongest results emerge when universities, industry, government, donors, and support organizations came together around a shared vision for Lebanon's future.
At the Industrial Research Institute, implementing partner of the EU-funded Lebanon Innovate program led by Berytech, our core mission was to establish and strengthen technology transfer offices across 6 Lebanese universities, building a bridge between academic research and market needs, advancing internationalization and knowledge transfer, and helping participants build lasting connections. Despite Lebanon's ongoing instability and the resulting delays, we adapted through flexibility, coordination, and determination to sustain progress. As part of Lebanon Innovate, IRI contributed to strengthening key structures, partnerships, and knowledge that will continue to support a sustainable innovation ecosystem in Lebanon.
Within the project, LETA contributed as a technological innovation center, bringing a strong expertise in applied research, technology transfer, and industrial innovation. The program contributes to strengthening innovation skills, fostering collaboration, and accelerating the path from research to the market. We are particularly proud of supporting R&D professionals and researchers in developing practical innovation and commercialization skills.
EBN's role in Lebanon Innovate was to strengthen the capabilities of ecosystem stakeholders and help create stronger connection between them and European counterparts. Most importantly, it brought the expertise of Europe's largest network of business innovation centers to the program. The program demonstrated the importance of long-term partnerships and community building to create sustainable growth.
Anima Investment Network has led the international dimension of the Lebanon Innovate program. We brought our expertise in research innovation ecosystems across the Mediterranean. We facilitated connections with the European stakeholders, and we helped position Lebanese actors within international networks. Our contribution also focused on creating opportunities for collaboration, knowledge exchange, and future access to European innovation and funding programs. So our aspiration is to see Lebanese research innovation actors become more and more integrated into regional and European networks, creating new opportunities for program funding, for talent, research, and entrepreneurship.
Around 4 years ago, Berytech answered the European Union's call to strengthen the Lebanese innovation ecosystem and brought together different local and international partners around this common mission. To speak more about this and to officially start this evening, I would like to welcome Mr. Nicolas Farhat, Deputy General Manager at Berytech, representing Mr. Maroun Shammas, CEO and Chairman of Berytech. Mr. Farhat, the stage is yours.
Good evening, Ms. Sandra Dewale, Ambassador of the European Union, Ms. Lea Poloni, Policy Officer at the Delegation of the European Union to Lebanon, Your Excellency Engineer Joais Al-Khouri, Minister of Industry, Your Excellency Dr. Amr Absat, Minister of Economy and Trade, Your Excellency, Dr. Kamal Shhadi, Minister of the Placed and Minister of Technology and AI. Also, Professor Shawqi Abdallah, President of the Lebanese American University, Professor Richard Maroun, Vice Rector for Research at the St. Joseph University of Beirut, Professor Antoine Farhat, Vice President for Advancement at Notre Dame University Loisy, Dr. Madonna Ayagnan, Director of the Strategic Corporate Relations Office. Distinguished guests, partners, colleagues, ladies and gents. It is my pleasure to be with you this evening. Unfortunately, our Chairman and CEO, Mr. Shammas, is unable to join us, so I have the privilege of delivering these remarks on his behalf. Lebanon Innovate was a 4-year program supported by nearly €3 million, generously funded by the European Union. It brought together 6 partners, 3 Lebanese, 3 European. And we as Berytech had the honor of leading this effort, carrying forward the vision that St. Joseph University of Beirut had set when it initiated Berytech in 2002, to connect the dots across the ecosystem, enable collaboration, and create the right environment for innovation to grow. From the outset, 13 universities, 6 research centers, 5 business support organizations, and 77 industries were mapped, creating a clearer picture of the assets, capabilities, and opportunities that could be brought together to build a more connected innovation ecosystem. And this is how Lebanon Innovate was born. Today, we can add many more milestones to that story, where hundreds of researchers, entrepreneurs, innovators, and ecosystem actors came together around a shared objective and belief. Yet, that belief was tested. During these years, we unfortunately also witnessed 2 wars, regional instability, travel restrictions, economic uncertainty, and many other challenges that would have been enough to derail many initiatives. But instead of weakening the program, these challenges made its purpose even clearer. If there is one thing Lebanon Innovate has taught us, is that innovation ecosystems are not built through numbers or planning alone. They are built through collaboration, trust, and a shared belief that progress is of utmost necessity despite all those challenges. And this matters because for a small country like Lebanon, with limited natural resources, our greatest asset is its people. Like other small nations that turn talent and innovation into competitiveness, Lebanon can make innovation a cornerstone of growth, exports, and quality job creation, thus a major contributor to its GDP. Lebanon Innovate created a tangible ripple effect across the ecosystem by turning collaboration into concrete outcome. 1, stronger links between universities, research centers, industries, and support organizations. 2, clearer pathways for researchers and innovators to bring ideas closer to the market. 3, new partnerships that help knowledge move beyond institutions into practical application. As Lebanon Innovate comes to completion, we can proudly say that its greatest achievement is the momentum it's leaving behind. We remain committed to continuing this journey with our partners and all ecosystem players, building on the foundation established and advancing our mission to help Lebanon innovation ecosystem reach its next level of maturity. This means strengthening IP protection, supporting the evolution of KICs into clusters and spin-offs, and most importantly, mobilizing risk capital to turn research into businesses that can grow and scale in Lebanon and beyond. That's the true legacy of Lebanon Innovate. I would like to sincerely thank the European Union for its trust and continued confidence in Lebanon Innovate and in Lebanon's innovation ecosystem. I would like to recognize the important role of the public sector, the engagement and belief of the ministries involved that help create the conditions for success, reminding us that innovation needs champions across all sectors as well as a conducive enabling environment. My sincere gratitude goes to our partners, Iraleb, IRI, IBN, Anima, and Letat, and to the entire Berytech team, particularly Nadine, Noor, and Christelle. Your dedication, collaboration, and shared ownership made this success possible. Thank you all for your continued partnership and commitment.
Thank you, Mr. Farhat. As highlighted, Lebanon Innovate started from a vision, and the EU recognized the need to strengthen the Lebanese innovation ecosystem and entrusted Berytech, along with its partners, to all work together towards turning this vision into an actual reality. And here we are, about 46 months later, celebrating those different achievements, which would not have been possible without the commitment and support and trust of the European Union, to whom we are deeply, deeply grateful. It is now my absolute honor to welcome on stage Her Excellency, Sandra Doualy, Ambassador of the European Union to Lebanon. Please take the stage.
Good evening, everybody. You have quite a few speeches to sit through, but I'm glad to see you're not being deprived of your dinner in the meantime. Your Excellencies, the ministers, dear Nicolas, dear partners and friends, it's a pleasure to be here today to mark the closing of this Lebanon Innovate program that helped build practical bridges between universities, researchers, entrepreneurs, businesses, and public institutions, and in doing so has contributed to a stronger and more connected innovation ecosystem in Lebanon. At a time when Lebanon continues to face profound economic, social, and security challenges, it's particularly important to highlight those areas where your country continues to demonstrate remarkable creativity, talent, and resilience. And innovation is one of those areas. Alongside the EU's response to the humanitarian and security situation in recent years, the European Union has remained committed to supporting Lebanon's long-term potential, with investment in innovation, research, and knowledge forming an essential part of that commitment. As I mentioned a year ago at the Power X event, I want to highlight again the energy, the quality, the forward-looking spirit that characterize Lebanon's innovation community. Even in very difficult times, Lebanese innovators, researchers, and entrepreneurs continue to create, adapt, and engage with international and regional partners. When you're an ambassador in Lebanon, too often our discussions on Lebanon with our capitals focus on crisis management. So it's wonderful for me to be here in a place like today and to be able to bring the messages back that Lebanon is something very, very different and so much more than that. A country of ideas, of skills, of research capacity, and entrepreneurial drive. You have high caliber universities, a highly educated and multilingual young population, a strong diaspora, and a long-standing capacity to adapt and innovate. These are real assets that deserve to be recognized, supported, and translated into opportunities for growth, jobs, and competitiveness. And that's why the European Union sees innovation, research, and knowledge transfer as key elements to support. Innovation is not a luxury. It's central to recovery and long-term growth. It creates jobs, it strengthens SMEs, improves competitiveness, and helps address societal challenges, from healthcare and food systems to digital transformation and the green transition. The experience of Lebanon Innovate has shown that innovation systems, ecosystems thrive when academia, industry, government, and international partners work together. Universities need stronger pathways to bring research closer to markets, while businesses need better access to talent, applied research, and innovation support. In this spirit, the program did what it did. You know what it did. I won't repeat it. But so I think what is important that we want to keep on working on what has been achieved so far. You know, the tangible economic impact that it has had by supporting spin-offs, by strengthening links between Lebanon and Europe, and especially by creating mechanisms that sustain collaboration and knowledge exchange beyond the life of the project, including through the Lebanon Connect virtual program. Because projects come to an end, but the structures, the capacities, and the relationships they leave behind can continue to generate impact long afterwards. Building on these achievements, we will follow with great interest how the project's results are carried forward, institutionalized, and further developed. The European Union's commitment is also reflected in its wider support for higher education, research, cooperation, skills, and mobility. You might have heard of Erasmus+, and through Erasmus+, the EU has supported thousands of exchanges between Lebanon and Europe, while Lebanese institutions continue to actively engage in regional initiatives such as Interact NextMed, demonstrating their capacity to contribute to European and Mediterranean knowledge networks. The regional dimension is essential because challenges such as economic fragmentation, climate stress, food insecurity, the energy transition, and youth unemployment do not stop at borders. Looking ahead, it will be important to continue investing not only in individual innovators or institutions, but especially in the enabling environment for innovation. And that's why I very much look forward to what your ministers will have to say about this. Public institutions have a role to play in creating the right frameworks, incentives, and governance structures, while international partners can help build capacities, connect actors, and support reforms and experimentation, as Lebanon Innovate did by creating 6 technology transfer offices within universities. Lebanon has all the ingredients to remain an innovative country. What is needed now, alongside regional stability, is the continued implementation of key reforms to improve the business environment, attract investment, and create opportunities for entrepreneurs and innovators. Reforming and strengthening the banking sector, I will keep repeating it, reducing administrative barriers and improving governance will be essential to Lebanon's recovery and to unlocking new avenues of support, including European Union macro-financial support. Young entrepreneurs need to feel that they can build successful futures here in Lebanon and that they don't need to go to Dubai, Paris, or New York to do so. Today is definitely not just a closing event. It's an opportunity to reflect on what has been built and especially on how we can carry it forward. Lebanon Innovate has shown that even in times of crisis, it is possible to invest in the future. It has demonstrated that partnerships matter, that institutions matter, and that innovation can be a powerful force for resilience and recovery. Let's build on this legacy together. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. As Lebanon Innovate evolved, so did the need to align with national priorities. And so different key ministries were engaged, leading to different initiatives across different axes. So with the Ministry of Industry, the focus was on strengthening academia-industry partnership, as well as supporting the productive sectors. With the Ministry of Economy and Trade, the focus was on innovation, intellectual property awareness, and support for entrepreneurs and businesses. And with the Ministry of Technology and AI, the focus was on empowering Lebanese talent to innovate with technology and AI to face national challenges. I would like to take a moment to thank the ministers and their ministries for their commitment to this mission and for being present with us tonight. So thank you very much. We will now hear them share their perspective across different areas. I would like to invite His Excellency, Minister of Industry, Engineer Joe Isa Al-Khouri, to share his perspective on how innovation drives industrial competitiveness. Your Excellency, the stage is yours.
Masal Khair, good evening. Actually, I was checking the website of Lebanon Innovate last night, and what struck me is the fact that the management of Lebanon Innovate it's a panel of ladies. So, but I received a letter this morning from a new association being put in place, the Association for Men's Equal Rights. So. Maybe we should change actually Berytech to Marytech. Your Excellencies, my colleagues, dear friends, Amir, Kamal, representatives of the European Union delegation, dear Sandra, dear partners, dear friends from Berytech, dear entrepreneurs, researchers, industrialists, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to be with you this evening. Being here means reconnecting with what Lebanon holds most precious, its knowledge, its youth, its capacity to think freely, and its ability to build brighter days ahead, even in the darkest times. We are living through profound geopolitical and technological upheavals, a time when the lines of the world shift faster than societies can adapt. In this context, research can no longer be an abstract academic exercise. For us, it must be a national responsibility, and for my ministry, an industrial one. I often say that the sovereignty of a country is not measured only by its borders. It is measured by its capacity to produce, to innovate, to heal, to feed, to educate. In short, to build by itself the conditions of dignity for its people. Tonight, I want to be precise about one word in that sentence, the capacity to produce. The fact is that Lebanese industry does not compete on cheap labor or cheap energy. We have neither. We compete on intelligence. The industries of the 21st century no longer rest only on natural resources. They rest on human ingenuity and the ability to turn an idea into added value. Innovation is our raw material, and the only durable reason a buyer in Europe or the Gulf will choose a Lebanese product over a cheaper one is that ours should be smarter and better engineered. This is why the task of my ministry is simple to state and hard to do. We must move research out of the registry and onto the production line. This means three things. First, helping our industrialists build genuine research and innovation capacity by treating R&D as core infrastructure, the way a serious factory already treats its machinery and its quality control. Second, building a structural bridge between our universities and our industrial fabric, so the problems of the factory floor travel to the laboratory and the talent of the laboratory travels back to the factory. And third, turning that research into what actually decides our future in export markets. Higher productivity, lower waste, better design, products that meet international standards and carry real know-how inside them. Now, allow me a confession. My ministry has an annual budget of $1.5 million. So if I mention financing innovation, I am not promising you state money I do not have. Public financing, realistically, must be set aside. However, of the models I checked, and I did my homework on that, the countries that won their technological transition all built their ecosystems on the same two pillars that are within our reach in Lebanon: mobilized private capital and academic excellence open to the world. Those are where Lebanon's chances lie. So, what can the state do? It can change the rules in our favor. It can create a research tax credit that rewards a company for investing in R&D instead of penalizing it. It can protect intellectual property, so a firm that spends to develop something is not robbed of it the moment it succeeds. And it can ratify a law that encourages startups for young entrepreneurs and encourages people to seed and help develop new ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I call for a national knowledge pact le Pacte du Savoir, at the service of Lebanon and the Lebanese industry, built on 5 concrete pillars. A public innovation authority to steer the national strategy and connect its parts. A research tax credit to pull private capital into research and development. Networking with the Lebanese diaspora abroad through investment funds, incubators, innovation funds, VCs, and the likes. Sectoral R&D clusters anchored in our real industrial strengths, such as agro-food, cosmetics, and most importantly, the industrial technology sector, where we can genuinely win, as this should be Lebanon's long-term battle horse. Our new cheval de bataille in Lebanon should be the industrial technology, along, of course, with the technology, the AI, which is being developed. A standing bridge between our universities, our industries, and our scientific diaspora, the thousands of Lebanese engineers, scientists, and researchers who excel in the world's finest institutions, and for whom it is time to reconnect to the Lebanese factory floor and laboratories. The aim of all of it is one thing: to make the meeting of the laboratory and the factory not a special occasion, but simply how Lebanon does business permanently, by habit, not by exception. I will close with a conviction. We must treat research not as a luxury for prosperous times, but as an act of resistance in times of crisis. A wager on intelligence, on our youth, in our sovereignty. Lebanon can become a crossroads of global excellence, provided we have vision, will, and collective commitment. Berytech, through its history, its mission, and its talents, stands at the forefront of that ambition. I warmly congratulate the people at Berytech, all the teams. Honestly, I'm always impressed whenever I meet with the people of Berytech, whether at Berytech or elsewhere. We are truly proud of what you have been achieving, and kudos to Maroun Shammas, who unfortunately is not here with us. I think he deserves an applause, Maroun Shammas. And I would like to thank again the EU, all the partners who contributed to the success of this journey. Together, let us help Lebanon innovate, manufacture, export, create hope, and retain talent. I wish you an enjoyable dinner full of discussions worthy of the challenges and the hopes of our Lebanon. Allah يوفقكم.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We do hope we can reach this global excellence that you so lovely attended to in the speech. I would now like to invite His Excellency Minister of Economy and Trade, Dr. Amer Bsat, to shed light on building a culture of innovation and intellectual property. Your Excellency, the stage is yours.
Excellencies, my colleagues, Minister Isa Al-Khouri and Shhadi, Ambassador Dawel, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Lebanon as an economy is well below its potential. Our capability as a country to produce is significantly above what we're producing today. The comparative advantages that we have makes it shameful that we're producing at the level that we're producing at right now. Doubling, tripling our GDP is not only simple, it's actually the basic. Without it, not being there is the problem. Being right now, with the way we are right now, is the anomaly, is the tragedy. What we're trying to do in this cabinet, in this government, is simply to unleash this potential. But the reality is, and here I'm going to be repeating the point that the ambassador made, we have to start with the basics. Everything we're going to be talking about today is extremely important, but at the end of the day, it's the basics that matters more. We need a banking sector that works. We need cheap electricity that is available. We need reliable telecommunication. We need an infrastructure that can help us produce. And maybe, most importantly, we need the security and the safety that only a sovereign state can produce. These are the basics without which our country will never be able to achieve the potential that it so richly deserves. Nonetheless, at the same time, and this is a point that you're going to be hearing over and over today, including what my friend Joe said, our greatest wealth has never been beneath our soil. We've never been rich with real assets. Our wealth has always been what very few other countries possess. Generation after generation, the Lebanese have built, created, and succeeded, not only here, but on every single continent. Lebanese minds are leading companies, shaping industries, building brands, opening markets. Few nations our size hold a network of talent like ours. And here, sort of, just anecdotally, do it. It's an interesting exercise. Just literally go to any company you can think of. Look at the C-suite. Just look at the C-suite of every single company. And I'm willing to bet you serious amounts of money that it's extremely likely you'll find a Lebanese, if not more than one. Right? This idea is that what we have is that competitive advantage that only the Lebanese and few other countries have. That education, the versatility, the entrepreneurship, the languages, the connectivity, and the diaspora as well. So the question tonight is not whether Lebanon can innovate. I think that question is moot. We all know it can. The real question is how do we protect and grow those innovations? The added value of innovation lies not only in creating something new, but in giving that creation an economic value. Coming up with an idea, relatively easy. We have tons of engineers from AUB, LAU, USG that produce exceptionally good ideas and other places as well. The idea is how do we turn those ideas into, I'm going to be vulgar, how do we monetize it? How do we turn value at it, right? This is where intellectual property stops being a legal technicality. It becomes an economic tool. It becomes an idea of transformation of creativity, research technology brands into an asset that can be owned, invested in, scaled, exported, and yes, profitable. People should be able to make money out of their ideas. We see this idea of a brand, of an idea that is actually scaled and turned into a profitable opportunity. We see it all the time. Just think of a restaurant that we all know. The restaurant has exceptionally good food. I'm talking about Sharif. They have an exceptionally good food. It's really good. But it's not just the idea. It's not just the food. It's not just the physical asset. My mother cooks just as well as Sharif. The point here is that what we're seeing here is that their ability to turn their idea, their reputation, their experience into a brand. Every one of those companies, in its own way, has exported a Lebanese brand, the Lebanese je ne sais quoi, proving that an idea born here can create value everywhere. We at the ministry, to bore you a little bit here, to turn this idea of taking an idea that is brilliant, that we Lebanese know how to produce, into a scalable idea that exists not only in Lebanon, but most likely elsewhere as well. Our job at the ministry is to advance this transformation. And we do it through 3 different actions. It's a bit of boring, but boring is important. This is unfortunately how you turn a challenge into a reality. The first thing we do is that we are working towards accession to the Madrid Protocol, the treaty that allows a trademark registered here to be protected across 132 countries through a simple application. Right? So again, the challenge, the problematic is we know how to produce ideas. We're relatively good at scaling them and making them make money. The question is how do we modernize and legalize and normalize and standardize that process? The second thing we're doing is we're rebuilding a system at home by digitizing the intellectual property archive and turning a paper legacy into modern registry where rights can be found, verified, and protected. One of the first experiences I had when I first walked in the ministry was walking into the famous, these huge Ottoman level, have you seen them? These Ottoman level notebooks where people still write by hand. Our idea to work with Kamal on how do we digitize this and make it more sustainable. And the third thing we're doing is we're reducing friction. by streamlining and automating registration so that protecting a creation, registering a mark, or starting a company no longer means standing in line and waiting forever and ever. And here, I have to say, we've succeeded. We've turned, when I first came to the ministry, the process of registering a trademark was taking 18 months. Today, we do it in less than a week. Right? So in less than a week, we can actually register it right now. And if anybody has any problems, feel free to reach out to me, because I promise we can move it very fast. Along the way, though, we learned something much deeper. The barrier is not only in the law, the registry, the procedure. It's access. It's knowing how these ideas, how these ideas can be used, how we can see intellectual property, not as a paperwork, but as part of a business strategy from the beginning. This matters because Lebanon's future economy cannot rely only on what we import, consume, or trade. It must increasingly rely on what we create, what we protect, and what we are able to bring to market. That is how we move toward a more productive, knowledge-driven economy. Now here, there are two stakeholders I want to talk about. The first stakeholder, well, the most important stakeholder is you, is the innovator, is the private sector, is the people who are coming up with ideas, scaling them, making them profitable, selling them abroad, right? That's the most important stakeholder. Without you, there's no way we can succeed, innovate, and reach our potential, right? But there are two other stakeholders that are important that I want to highlight. The first is us, the government. Our responsibility is to support the journey by improving policies, procedures, increasing transparency, removing obstacles, and connecting Lebanese innovators to the markets, partners, networks they need to grow. That's a big challenge. We're working on that. But there's another stakeholder that we really need to know how to use, because I'm not convinced we're using properly. That stakeholder is the diaspora. Our diaspora is an incredibly important player that I don't know if we're using properly. Our diaspora, let's be honest, right? We educate them, we work on them, we spend enormous amounts of money on our young people. They leave the country, and so far they do two things. They send us remittances, and occasionally they come to go to Fara to summer here. That's not enough. The IRR, I was working on it and I was discussing it with Joe the other day. The internal rate of return of that investment is exceptionally low. We make 0.8% on our investment on people. Right? So if our rate of return if our benchmark should be 8%, we're losing significant amount of money. We need to use them better. We need to exploit our diaspora. And this is where their role becomes very important. They become our investor, funder. They become our support. They open up ideas. We can partner with them to open up markets. We need to turn them from simply remittance providers and occasional tourists into actual partners in our productive activity. So the main stakeholder is you, the private sector. We, the public sector, can help, but we need to know how to use our diaspora better. Let me close with this. The Lebanese talent can compete anywhere on earth, and actually has. Our task now is how to build the ecosystem that allows that talent to help build the Lebanon of tomorrow. A Lebanon with creativity is protected, enterprises are supported, innovation becomes a source of jobs, exports, and growth. A Lebanon where the Lebanon brand is known across the world for creativity, quality, trust, and ambition. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Bsat. I believe I speak on behalf of every innovator when I say thank you for protecting and supporting Lebanese brilliance. We will now hear from His Excellency, Minister of Technology and AI, Dr. Kamal Shhade, who will share his perspective on the role of technology and AI in facing national challenges. Your Excellency, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm not going to make any introductions. I just agree 100% with what Nicolas said and the previous speakers. But let me just say I have 3 words to share with you. The first one is gratitude. The second one is about ambition. And the third is a promise. The word of gratitude is for the EU for supporting this initiative, for Berytech and Maroun Shammas specifically for taking the initiative, Berytech and the whole team. I'm not going to be able to mention all of you. It's also for all the universities, all the companies that have taken part in this. This has been an amazing experiment in bringing different ingredients together and watching the magic happen. That's really the purpose of innovation. That's really the proof of innovation. We, as the Ministry of Technology and AI, we were part of the launch about a year ago of the ICT KICS. And since then, a number of projects have spawned, and we're very happy with the progress. We now have 2 flagship projects. The first one is with ISEC on water irrigation for small farms, and the second one is with LEU on energy efficiency, again involving the relevant ministry. So thank you for everyone who's been part of this, and special thanks to my colleagues at the Ministry of Technology and AI. But more importantly, let me talk about the ambition. I just came back from Paris and Shenzhen. I'm not going to use or quote Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, because it starts with, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. But really my impression after spending a few days with the innovators, with the Lebanese entrepreneurs in Paris, and follow on visit to Shenzhen and seeing what the potential is, I'm convinced that this is the most fascinating time, the best of times for us to be alive in, especially here in Lebanon, in this country, with the talent that we have. Based on this talent, I think we can be very ambitious, and we should be. Not out of pride, empty pride, useless pride, but out of commitment to doing our best, very simply. So why do we have the right to be ambitious in this area of technology and AI? And let me tell you very briefly that Lebanon comes number 2 in the United States in terms of founders that have spawned unicorns. Lebanon comes in 2nd place after one other country for founders in the US. The one that beat us is Israel. They're ahead of us. But Lebanon is number 2, and it tells you something. Just last year, we had 3 Lebanese unicorns. Kalshi, founded by Tariq Mansour, Writer.ai by May Habib, and Ramp with the co-founder Karim Atiyi. All 3 of them are not just Lebanese by name, they are a product of this ecosystem. They're a product of our educational system. They're a product of our culture, our values, and everything we hold dear. So that is something that we can be very proud of and again, be optimistic. But there is another reason, not just نحن لبنانية. I think we have a right and a duty to be ambitious because in this day and age, the cost of computing is dropping precipitously. Because at your fingertips, each one of you has the ability to reach the rest of the world at a cost that has not been seen before. We are seeing these developments that have turned over or have upset so many different industries. So with this, I think that's a great opportunity for us, for a country like Lebanon. But our ambition is also bigger than that. And I love what this program has done. But I think we need to be a little bit more ambitious in the next stage. Bigger projects for innovation that build on Lebanon's centers of excellence in healthcare, in agri-tech and agri-food, in the creative industries, and on and on. That's really what the next step is. And these require bigger investments, bigger projects, and yes, more collaboration across universities. Not one single university, not one single medical center, and I say that with all due respect to the achievements of each one of them, can actually make a dent in terms of biotech and medical research without collaborating amongst themselves. That is our challenge. We as Lebanese have been great at sprinting as individuals, as founders, collective action has not been our forte. And I would wish from the bottom of my heart that we actually make the next leap and think in a more ambitious but more coordinated manner. And the question that I was asked to prepare here, and it's related to the ambition, is why Lebanon has not realized or seized the opportunity fully in ICT so far. And let me just say, in just a few words, I think a couple of things that some of you have experienced. One of them is the public sector. We have been a drag on the whole economy. The public sector has been a drag on the ICT industry more so than any other thing. In any other country in the world, any other emerging markets, it has been the government that has taken the initiative to jumpstart investments and to be a catalyst in digitization. Not here. We have been a drag on digitalization. That too has to change. The reason is because we have decided that everything we do should be done by committee, everything we do should be done according to the magical Lebanese formula of مين منزعل ومين منفرح. Who do we upset? Who do we make happy? And we have to make sure that it is done according to the magical Lebanese formula that does not work in technology. So that brings me to the next point. Very ambitious. Yes, we have that potential, and I'm very proud of my history and tradition. And I know had Joe, my colleague, my friend for 40 years, Joe Al-Khouri, been here, he would probably argue with me now. But I also think that we have some traditions we need to shake off. We have some traditions we need to shake off. You cannot build the future by being so closely tied to our past. And that, I think, is a contradiction. We're a country of contradictions, that's one of them. But still, I think it's our duty as government officials to chart the way forward, to make sure that going forward we are not a drag, but we are a catalyst for growth, for innovation. And we need also to break the shackles that are holding us back. And something I keep saying, something I've learned over 15 years in this industry, you do not build without breaking. Very simple. I'm in the public sector. I'm in an environment that is extremely, extremely rigid, conservative. But I think this applies even in my field. We will not build unless we break down certain things. That's very tough, but we have to do it. Thank you. The last word is about promise. My promise to you is to continue doing what we have done in the last 16, 17 months. My promise is to turn the special technology economic zones into a reality. The decrees that will set it up have been sent to the Ministry of Justice about 3 months ago. I wish they would work faster, but they have a backlog. But once these are established, we will have free zones for technology, whether it's manufacturing or services. But my ambition, and I know it's also Amir's, is that the whole country will be as competitive as any free zone. My ambition is we get to a point we do not need to create these free zones, but there we are. My ambition and my promise to you also is that we'll continue to focus on developing the talent. The Numu program that we launched, that my colleagues here, Noor, Fayyad, and Miguel, and others have steered very ably, we now have, in the span of 4 weeks, had 14,000 people registered. 14,000 people registered to sign up for the courses, for the training that is now being offered, Oracle, and today SAP. For those who tell me why Oracle, SAP, we've been after them for months. Finally, we got the LOI, letter of intent. Oracle, SAP, AWS, Google is on the way, Microsoft, the biggest component of this, and just today we had a training for 200 educators from public and private schools. 200. 500 signed up, 200 showed up and stayed almost the whole course. That tells you something. 200 people stayed, learning about AI, about how they write these prompts and how they can get the best out of the AI innovations. So Numu, the promise is for Numu to continue to grow and to reach not just 15. Our ambition is to reach 100,000 over the next 5 years with the help of our partners, the universities and the NGOs that are part of this. NGOs in particular, because they help us reach regions of Lebanon that have not had this opportunity. And I remind you that Lumu was launched from Nabatiye. And I renewed today my pledge to Minister Jabir, who offered us the location, that we will go back and do this again in Nabatiye. And the idea is very simple. It is to see again the same thing that happened after the training we gave in Nabatiye. We got a video from 2 of the participants saying this was a life changer and they founded a company together. In Zahli, one of the working groups that worked on a project together founded a company together. Every single time, if nothing else happens, if no one else learns anything, that is worth all the work that we're doing. My promise is also to see the Lebanese Angel Investor Network develop. We launched it on May 11. Today we have $7.5 million pledged. We have $3.5 million already paid out and committed. And this should be able to, if we reach the target of 5 billion, if not all the promises are delivered, this will support between 25 and 50 companies in the next 3 years. That is an amazing enterprise. The fact that we got funding. So what are we doing? We're doing this, and my promise is we'll see it through. We will launch it. We will make sure that no interference, no political interference will come in the way of having the Lebanese Angel Investor Network operate as best in class and deliver the kind of investment that our founders deserve. My promise is also that we will continue to align our legal and regulatory framework with best practices. A few weeks ago, we completed, actually last December, not a few months ago, our work on the data privacy legislation. And it was sent to our partners in the EU. We received some minor comments. We made those changes, and now we will send back to them. And I keep following up with my colleague, the Minister of Justice, Adel Nassar, to make sure that they give us back their comments. That's an example of how, with data privacy, but also cybersecurity and other key pieces of legislation, we hope to bring our legal and regulatory framework in line with international best practice and in line with our trading partners. The reason this matters to me is because the EU is our biggest trading partner. It's because this is our calling to be able to do business there. We have to have our laws and regulations aligned and the enforcement to be effective. That too will open up lots of opportunities. But there's a lot more to do that we haven't done. And again, my promise is that we will work to make it easier, not just to set up companies, one-stop shop here, one-stop shop there. Azim, we can do that. But I also want, and this is counterintuitive, make it easier to shut down businesses. There's no reason why founders need to be worried about spending 10 years being pursued by finance or by Daman Ijtima'i National Social Security Fund for simply shutting down a business. Again, if you want to make it easy for people to do business, there are many things. This is one of them. But then the final thing that we promise that we'll continue to work on is setting up the fund of funds that will invest in Series A and B. So it's not just in the seed and pre-seed, which is what the Angel Investor Network is about, but it's to invest in Series A and B. When the investments get too big, they're in the range of $1 million to $5 million. The reason also If we do that, we then give the Lebanese companies an opportunity to stay in Lebanon, not to pack up and go to Dubai or Abu Dhabi or Riyadh so they can raise funds. That too, that's next. That is also my promise to you. And finally, it's to establish a Lebanese digital renaissance fund. You know, we think about digitizing the public sector, and there's a lot to do there. But when I look around, I see very few companies that are actually transforming digitally, that are introducing AI in the way that they operate. And with a broken banking sector, we need to find another way to finance that. And so the suggestion is very simple. I've run it by a couple of international financial institutions, which is to get a line of credit of $50 million that will be dispersed through one of the banks of their choice, and it is renewable. So companies will borrow, large enterprises could borrow $500,000 to $1 million for the purpose of digital transformation. Smaller companies will borrow and invest $100,000 to $200,000, $300,000. That will help to digitally transform the whole economy. And that will create incredible opportunities for our innovators and for our businesses. So let me just end with this. We have a lot to do. Work doesn't stop, but I also think that our biggest responsibility this evening is to ensure that this partnership between industry and research, universities, and the public sector continues beyond the lifespan of this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your promise and for your commitment. And please note that we are all ready to support you any way we can. Did you ever wonder why it's called Lebanon Innovate? Hypothetical question. With all the different stakeholders involved, it was very important to try and find a system or a structure where all of those different stakeholders can work together seamlessly in a structure. Or in other words, one key objective was to have Lebanon innovate together. The key word here is together. And now we reach chapter 2 of our story, of our Lebanon Innovate story, transforming the innovation ecosystem. And in this chapter, ladies and gentlemen, we will be looking more closely at how ideas turned into initiatives and how the different partners turned actions into achievements. And who can tell us better about those different achievements other than the person who has lived them every single day. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome the program manager for Lebanon Innovate, Ms. Nadine Slim, who will walk us through the achievements and will gather insights from the different stakeholders seated here. Thank you. Nadine, the stage is yours. And if you can see the excitement with the crowd.
Thank you so much, Amjad. It's a pleasure to see you all the people that I have met for the past 4 years in one room. Thank you for joining us to celebrate these achievements and this big milestone. So I have been given 10 minutes to tell you or summarize these 4 years of Lebanon Innovate. Now, if you've been through this journey, you would have known that it's almost impossible. But what I can promise you that for the next 10 minutes, I will not only share with you the story of Lebanon Innovate, but I'm gonna share with you the transformation that happened throughout these 4 years. So you've heard already about the vision that inspired Lebanon Innovate. And eventually, every vision gets to a moment where one question is being asked and has to be answered, is what did it change? And tonight, I'm gonna share with you the story of these changes. And like every transformation, this one didn't begin with a solution. So it began with understanding the ecosystem and looking at the different key actors of it. The research institutions, the universities, the business support organization, the industry. We have mapped and assessed all of them. And based on the understanding and the findings of this mapping, we were able to tailor each and every initiative of this program. and when we were able to get to where we are today. And it has been very clear from these findings that if we want to transform an ecosystem, we have to start from where knowledge is created. And this is our first transformation. It's within universities. So what we wanted to do is to help these universities to have the right structures, the right policies, the right capacities for them to be able to enhance their innovation and research landscape. And so we have worked with 8 universities on developing their research management framework, developing their IP policies, developing their technology transfer structure, while capacitating their teams that are behind all this infrastructure. We have also supported them in getting the right capacity building and training, especially for their grants offices, for them to be able to reach and be exposed to the right opportunities and the right key actors. Now, perhaps this transformation wasn't only institutional, it was also a cultural transformation. Because out of everything we did throughout these 4 years, 6 universities have decided to choose collaboration over isolation and have formed a consortium of 6 universities to collaborate on innovation, technology transfer, and research valorization. Now, the next question was that universities alone cannot transform an ecosystem. For an innovation to have an impact, it has to be adopted by the industry. The industry has to be ready to invest in it, to grow it. And that led us to the next transformation, engaging industries and working with them on having this mindset and this courage of collaborating with the academic sector. And we did this through different capacity building and training. And our focus was innovation management and capacitating their R&D representatives and the industry representative as a whole with the needed capacities and the needed skills and tools to integrate and embed innovation within their strategic priorities. Of course, social innovation was on our map, and this is because of the unique Lebanon context. We wanted also industries to be able to transform their business model into a more sustainable, resilient, and impact-driven one. Now, universities are stronger. They are connected with industries. There is still a missing piece: the innovator. The innovator also needs the right support system to be able to move and to grow their ideas and to go from an idea to a market-ready solution. And here comes the next transformation. We have worked together with ERA Lab on remodeling their LIRA national program and on transforming it into a more structured, sustainable, and scalable model. What we have done is introduce some new pathways that can support innovators within their innovations journey and within different stages of their innovation journey. And we have piloted 2 editions and supported and funded 10 innovation projects in Lebanon. Now that innovation is there, we know that it's not enough to support them grow, but we have also to protect this innovation. And this took us to the next transformation, strengthening the intellectual property system and ecosystem. And what we have done is designing an incubation program for lawyers on intellectual property rights and equipping a generation of lawyers with the knowledge needed on intellectual property, on technology transfer, and commercialization. And today, we are proud of the community of lawyers that we have and that is ready to support the innovation ecosystem. Thank you. Now, looking at this transformation, there was one additional question. How can we leverage on all of this but do something bigger, which is serve Lebanon. And here comes the government, and that required the engagement of the government. And to do so, we have co-created with the different ministries 2 initiatives and 2 very special initiatives. The first one is the National IP Awareness and Access Framework that is being implemented in collaboration with the Ministry of Economy and Trade, and that aims at enhancing and strengthening awareness, accessibility, and adoption of IP in Lebanon. And the second, Innovate for Lebanon, that was launched in collaboration with the Ministry of Technology and AI, and that aims at bringing together government, academia, and innovation actors to solve national challenges through research and innovation. Now we have a stronger ecosystem from within, so we can connect them to the world. And this was our next priority, connecting Lebanon and Lebanese stakeholders to Europe and the wider international innovation ecosystem, for them to be able to create collaboration opportunities and meaningful connection. And this is what we did through our matchmaking activities, Lebanon Connect 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. We brought together all the innovation ecosystem stakeholders and matched them with their EU counterparts to create these meaningful connections and create these collaborations between the 2 parties. And we do see numbers that can reflect the impact that we were trying to do. But we also know that international partnerships are not enough. We have also to work on the internal partnerships and on the connection that are between us as Lebanese, between industry, between government, between academia, researchers, innovators. And here comes the next transformation. Okay, I had to mention that we complemented all the efforts that we did when it comes to connecting Europe, Lebanon to Europe and the wider international with some exchange mission and soft landing. And we did expose universities to different innovation ecosystem, European innovation ecosystem. And today we're proud that 3 of the universities present with us today are already working on signing an MOU with EU innovation hubs. And this is a great testament to show that partnerships and collaborations that are being built under the Lebanon Innovate program will go beyond this program. Now, going back to connecting also Lebanese actors, the transformation that I was telling you about is the knowledge and innovation communities, the formation and building of these 3 sustainable communities across 3 sectors: healthcare, agri-food, and ICT. And these communities aim at bringing together academia, industry, government, and business support organization with one shared vision of innovation, aiming at bridging academia and industry, creating collaborations, and of course, fostering knowledge and technology transfer to create social and economic value. Now that we have these strong communities there, we also needed to make sure that they stay connected and that they grow. And therefore, the next initiative and the next milestone was creating the Lebanon Innovate portal. This is the digital hub of the innovation ecosystem. This is the home of all the innovation ecosystem actors. It's not just a website, it's a platform bringing together all stakeholders to connect, to engage, and to stay informed through the different features that it offers. Now, if we step back and we look at all the achievements that I've been telling you, the scale of transformation now becomes clearer. All these achievements tells us today one story, the story of an ecosystem that became stronger, that became more connected, and that is striving and sharing and working on a common mission, innovation. And behind all these achievements are people, are the people who have been part of this whole journey, are the people who have invested time, shared knowledge, built partnerships, are people who have shared the vision that we have put 4 years ago. These are the people who will be carrying forward everything we have done. The legacy of this program lies in the people who have been part of this program. Now, you've heard my perspective. I think it's time to hear their perspective. So I'm gonna step down and I'm gonna pass by some of the tables, and we're gonna hear the voices of transformation, the voices of the people who have contributed, who have been part of this journey, and who have been part of the change that 4 years ago we planned for. As I mentioned, we're gonna hear from different ecosystem players, different ecosystem actors. We're gonna hear through the voices of universities, of industry leaders, of experts that have been part. And I'm gonna start, and our first voice from Lebanon's innovation ecosystem is Professor Richard Maroun. You've been with us since day one. Yeah, you're one of the leading universities when it comes to innovation and research. And you have been committed to this since day one and years ago. So given USG's track record and commitment to innovation, can you please tell me how did the program complement what you have been doing for the past years?
Well, thank you, Nadine, for inviting us today. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming.
I guess that I have just 1 to 2 minutes to deliver my message. I have just short messages and one conclusion. Well, first of all, let me tell you that at USG, and I think that it's the case of all our universities here, our mission is not only to produce knowledge, but as well as to transfer it to social, to have a real social impact. And you know that before Lebanon Innovate, our researchers did excellent research. We have a lot of collaborations with industries, with partners, national and international ones. But what Lebanon Innovate helped us to do is to create this ecosystem between all of us, industries, universities, and to have a real impact. And let me tell you that looking to our researchers nowadays, the question is not only how to publish or to do something good with our results, it's how to valorize them and how to go to the market and to transform the society, the Lebanese society. And I think that one of the major achievements of Lebanon Innovate is this ecosystem that you have built. And thank you for this, Nadine, and really we can applaud you for this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I will conclude with telling you that Lebanon Innovate didn't teach us to innovate, since we are doing this since years ago, but it helped us to innovate together, greater, and having impact on social and on society.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Maroun. And this was our objective. And I'm happy to hear from one of the leaders of innovation and the research about this huge transformation that we've been trying to do. I'm going to go next to Dr. Antoine Farhat, Vice President of Research and Graduate Studies. So NDU has been part of this journey since day one, and establishing the Technology Transfer Office as part of the Lebanon Innovate program. And we consider it as one of the success stories of this program. So my question is, what or how do you think having a TTO operational at NDU will change the landscape of research and innovation?
Very quick, few seconds story. When I was finishing my PhD, I had two on my committees from external reviewers, one from Université de Laval, I was at McGill at that time, and one from Penn State from the United States. And following my defense, they offered me two positions. An assistant professor at Laval and postdoc at Penn State. And I went to Penn State because it was an innovation. We patented that nutritional product. Yes, we published in high impact journals, but it was towards a patent. Now, that was 27 years ago. We did not have this culture here. So what does TTO is going to do? Well, definitely it's going to help us not to miss any more opportunities. This is Pauline's loved statement. Are we missing have we been missing opportunities? Yes. So it's going to help our students and faculty to translate the research into application. It's going to help us establish the intellectual property as an institutional asset. It's going to work in synergy with the Innovation Hub. Well, it is going to support the visibility and positioning of NDU. And I can also say it's going to help us engage industry further. Thank you, Nadine, and thank you,
so
Innovate
much.
Lebanon.
Thank you so much, Dr. Antoine. Now, if universities are where knowledge is born, so TTOs are where it comes to life. And I'm looking at Dr. Sandy Rihana, you can stay, co-founding director of the Technology Transfer Office at UZEC. My question to you, Dr. Sandy, is how TTOs are reshaping the connections between researchers and academia. So we've heard from Dr. Antoine that this is one of the mission and this is one of the changes that he's expecting at NDU. So how do you see it happening? And what is one message you would give to the many industry representatives and leaders we have with us today?
Okay. Thank you very much, Nadine, for this question. I would say, as I mentioned also earlier, but Her Excellency and His Excellency, Lebanon doesn't lack innovation, doesn't lack scientific breakthrough, doesn't lack, our Lebanese university have a lot of cutting-edge researchers and big innovations, and doesn't lack creativity. Our main gap is like how to take this innovation from the lab to the market. So the role of technology transfers as established. So first, it helps protect the IP of the different innovators, researchers, faculty member, and students, develop their IP strategy, validate the market, help them to pitch their invention, communicate with different partners, industrial, get funded, and make a socio-economic impact, creating spin-out industries or licensing the technology to existing companies. So the whole process of TTOs is like the main economic growth, socio-economic growth, and competitive edge of the university, and it helped not only university, but increasing innovation index of Lebanon.
One message to the industry.
One message I would say...
As I'm moving now to interview some of the industries also.
I would say to them, look, as mentioned by you, Nadine, look to TTOs and universities and investment. And co-partners with universities could develop ideas. We have also, by His Excellency, he mentions we have lots of breakthrough within different faculties, and they reach the valley of death. So yes, you can reduce your R&D cost, you can accelerate your innovation, and you can help a lot the socio-economic impact by this collaboration.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I'm going to move now to the industry, and I'm going to ask some question, but I have, I think, an intervention from May before moving to the industry. May, I know that you've been part also of the program, and AUB has been part of the consortium that have signed. So I have to mention it. So 6 universities are signing a consortium soon to work on research. And these 6 universities, and we're proud, a lot of them, and we hope that this consortium grows with time, are AUB, USG, LAU, UZEC, NDU, and Balaman. Please, a big applause to these universities for really taking innovation and research and collaboration to the next level. Yeah. So looking at this consortium, I know you're very excited about it.
Very excited. This has been an amazing journey, and we're looking forward to more. Yeah, and this MOU that we're developing, 6 universities together, has been a great opportunity for us to really set a path forward for all of us to collaborate together on research, innovation, and impact of innovative ideas that we all have, and also to set the path for research collaboration all together. So this has been great, and we're looking forward. We have the signing of the MOU soon, 6 universities.
Thank you so much. This is a vivid testament of the transformation that the universities have went through and the focus on collaboration. Now I'm going to move to the industry, and I'm looking at Mario Ael, General Manager of Berytech.
Thank you, Nadine.
Mario, the call from academia was a call to push industry to invest more in research, to invest more in innovation, but to collaborate with academia instead of outreaching, etc. So the academia-industry collaboration, we all know, is a key to advance innovation to create economic value. Can you share how Berytech's experience on this, and how can you respond to the call from the academic sector?
First of all, thank you very much, Nadine, for having us. So I will tell you Berytech before Lebanon Innovate and Berytech after Lebanon Innovate.
Okay.
So before we were struggling to find the key people, the key persons within academia. I would say we didn't have engagement with academia. It was very superficial. And after we have built this Lebanon Innovate, this initiative, I think we have built relationships, friendship, and most importantly, what we are doing, we have now access to those students, to those bright minds that they are filling our offices, not only during internship, but we have done something very special for those that at Berytech, I think it's tout au long de l'année, interns coming from different universities. And believe me, it's not about that we are giving, we are getting from them fresh blood, fresh minds, fresh ideas. And this is a very rewarding experience for Berytech. And on top of this engagement with the students, we were able also to engage with the decision makers. And we are talking about updating curriculum, how can we, what the market requires. So we are, as industries, exposed to the market, Lebanon, Iraq, Algeria, Kuwait, UAE, wherever you have presence. And we know that we have some lacks in the learning and the development of specific students. So that's what we are sharing with decision makers. And yes, what I can promise you that whether we continue Lebanon Innovate or another program, we will always support any initiative with you, Berytech.
Thank you so much. So I think we got an answer for the academia. We're already seeing these collaborations and during the timeline of the program. So I'm gonna go to Asma Abbas, regulatory director at Beeline. Asma also has been, and Beeline as a whole has been part of the journey of Lebanon Innovate. Mario was telling us about the connections that were facilitated by the program, and you're one of the KIC members,
Yes.
Healthcare Innovation Community members. So can you tell us how this community has really facilitated these connections across the sectors?
Yes, thank you, Nadine. So I'm here as I'm Asma Abbas. I'm here representing Baseline, but more than that, I'm here as a member of the Healthcare Knowledge and Innovation Community, also known as KIC. So when the first time I heard the word KIC, I thought it was just another acronym, but what I found instead was a table, a real one, and I rounded set people who in normal times don't end up in the same room. So we had universities, government, organization, and industries. So across the three KICs, healthcare, ICT, and agri-food, that was the magic. You take one problem that everyone is facing alone, and suddenly you're facing it all together. So one of the biggest we had in the healthcare was the activation of the Lebanese Drug Authority law, also known as LDA. So instead of each of us lobbying in isolation, we sat together with other stakeholders and we spoke in one voice. So that's what the KIC provided us. For us at Baseline, the game changer was the connection with academia. So it was through Lebanon Innovate. We sat with universities and we sat with researchers. We told them exactly what we needed. We told researchers our challenges in extracting specific ingredient, plant-based ingredient, and to our formulations. And the conversations went from wouldn't be nice to let's work on it together. So that's what the program provided us, more access, more connection, and a real bridge between the lab and the industry. So thank you, Nadine. To Lebanon Innovate, we thank you. And you didn't just build communities, you gave the Lebanese industry a seat on a table and the confidence to fill it.
Thank you so much, Asma. And that's another vivid example of the importance of the connection that we have made throughout this program and the importance of these communities. And that shows how these communities will be sustaining and carrying forward what we have done. And I'm looking now at Dr. Ivan Fakhouri, director of, director of the LAU engine. Ivan, when I first met you, you were part of the industrial hub.
Correct.
Right? And then you worked with us on building the foundation of the Technology Transfer Office. And today you're the director of the Innovation Hub at LAU.
Yes.
So you've been through different infrastructure of the innovation ecosystem. So what I want to hear from you is how these different structures complement each other and what's the unique role that the Technology Transfer Office plays. Because we hear a lot from universities that they are doing the same and they never do the same. So tell us more.
Okay, first thing, it's important to note that these are not separate islands. So innovation centers, entrepreneurship centers, industry, academia centers, these are all part of the same pie. So if we're talking about the industrial hub, this is where the focus is industry-academia collaborations. So the question we ask at LAU is, how do we help the companies? How do we serve the companies? How do we provide value to the companies? Which is what we do through our students, faculty, staff, labs, facilities. So we provide a service and we help the companies, industry-grade services. This is one. Two, we have LAU Engine, which is my role now, and this is the entrepreneurship arm. This is where we help founders become, let's say, not founders, let's say students with good ideas and great ideas and bad ideas sometimes. We take them along the journey and we help them become founders, good founders, great founders, and eventually build companies that can grow and scale locally and internationally. That's another part. Now, to the TTO, we cannot do either of these without the TTO. So if we're talking about commercializing research, we have to start with the TTO. If we're talking about building a startup that has tech enabled within, you need the TTO to protect your technology. So it is such an important pivotal point to have the TTO established at LAU, okay, at any institution, at any university, because without this vehicle, how can we commercialize? How can we have this structure that allows us to go from point A to point B? Without TTO, ideas stay in the classroom, stay in the lab, stay on the paper, stay on the board. They're just publication after publication, just for the sake of ranking, and who cares about ranking?
Exactly, exactly. And I had the same discussion with Dr. Shawi about the importance of the outcome of the technology transfer office and how it transforms all these innovation and takes them to the next level. My next speaker is Jad Zgheb. Jad is the National Program Manager at EBRD, and Jad is running a sister program to Lebanon Innovate. So I think maybe everyone knows about what EBRD are currently doing, especially when it comes to supporting SMEs and supporting, providing them with support to do research and development and link them to academia. But now that if we look at Lebanon Innovate, it was more of an ecosystem development program. So it built specific foundations. How do you see these foundations supporting the work that you're doing, especially that we're running these two programs together?
Thank you, Nadine, first of all, for having me, and most importantly, to you and the team for roughly 4 years of collaboration. It's been really a pleasure working with you. And to answer your question, I think the foundations that you're talking about and the collaboration really builds or opens the door for a sustainable impact of this project and the program. As you said, we're also running at the EBRD a sister program, also generously funded by the EU. And basically, we're building, or at least benefiting from the foundations that you've laid. Part of what you have done and what we've listened to today is the work done with the best of Lebanon's excellent universities to build their capacity in terms of technology transfer, build TTOs, etc. What we are doing is try to encourage SMEs to collaborate with academia to push and to create innovative products, innovative processes, etc. So the results, I think, in brief, are there. Today, I think SMEs increasingly see in universities a go-to partner when it comes to innovating, looking for things that they cannot do themselves, and that they know universities have the capacity to do. On the other hand, universities are also seeing in the private sector and in SMEs in specific a good partner to apply some of the research that comes out of the excellent labs and the applied research that comes out of the universities. They also see it, I think, as a way or a good partner for their faculty members to go and be in contact with real-world problems, and same for their graduate students. So I think, in short, building on the foundations that you've mentioned, the demonstration effect of industry-academia collaboration is working. And I think and I hope that this will create a lasting impact beyond the availability of donor funding, which I think is initially the objective of these long-term programs.
Thank you so much, Jad. And I believe that the work that you've been doing is also part of the demonstration that we're trying to do through Lebanon Innovate. Thank you so much. So last but not least, Nisreen Haddad. Nisreen Haddad is the managing partner of Sauder and Associate. And Nisreen has been also part of the Lebanon Innovate journey and has especially been part of the design of the incubation program for lawyers on intellectual property. Nisreen, my question will focus on this community. How do you see, first of all, this network of IP lawyers supporting universities and technology transfer offices? And why do we need this community in Lebanon?
Thank you, Nadine, for your support during the Lebanon Innovate program. Indeed, the training that we have gave to Lebanese lawyers was essential so they can support the TTOs and the universities, especially that the number of IP lawyers was too low compared to the market demand, especially with the rise of the TTOs at the university. And all the support that we gave them will enable them to provide the support to the universities. As for the second part of your question is about the impact on Lebanon Innovate program. I think it will have a great impact because when legal experts and the university work together, it will create more patent filing. We will see more licensing. We will see more patent, more registration in all IP matters, and this will impact the return on investment and the economy as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nisreen. And I believe this community is very needed, especially now at a very early stage of several technology transfer offices. We need these resources and we need the support of these lawyers. I want to thank you so much. Thank everyone for being here. Thank the speakers for their contributions, for their reflections and testament. and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. My heart was on, let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
46 months may have marked the end of the program, but I believe we can all confirm that it is only the beginning of an ecosystem, as we've all been saying. I just wanted to wish you all a great evening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. Please wear the pin proudly on your chest as a symbol of your commitment to the legacy of Lebanon Innovate. Take the pin with you, wear it proudly, and please continue to innovate, continue to be part of the portal because don't forget that the portal is only as good as the people who contribute and who always keep it alive along with them. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us tonight. Have a lovely evening, and we will stay in touch for sure. Thank you.